Did the Bears do enough at the NFL trade deadline? Today, I want to break down the two moves that they did make, what it means for the rest of the season, and much more. Look, we know that we live in an age of instant gratification, but people seem to overlook the fact that winning free agency or the trade deadline often means finding values, not making the big splash moves. Sometimes the best teams stay quiet or make under the radar moves during times like these. I'm sure Colts and Cowboys fans are happy today. Anytime you add Pro Bowl players to your roster in the middle of the season, it's exciting, but it doesn't always work out in the long run. The Chicago Bears made a value deal, adding Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. They gave up just a sixth-round pick and got Shoyinka and a seventh-round pick in return, basically just moving down a little bit on day 3 in next year's draft. But now this guy gets a chance to compete for playing time in Chicago. After losing Dio Odengbo for the season, the Bears were desperate for help on the defensive line, and we added an edge rusher. I'm going to get to the bottom line first with him. The Bears had an opportunity to add bigger name pass rushers out there, but declined. Arden Key, was he available? We don't know. The one guy we know that was available was Jermaine Johnson for the Jets. And some people, including myself, wanted the Bears to make a move like that. But multiple reports say the Jets wanted a second round pick. That is way too much to pay for a guy who has less production than the one we traded for. Look, there's a lot to this one, but I want to talk about why I think this move is better than trading for Jermaine Johnson. JTS isn't as big of a name, but he compares favorably in almost every way to the Jets pass rusher. Both are 26 years old. Both are former first round picks. They are both 6'5" and 255 plus pounds. They're similarly sized, they're both lengthy, athletic, and they've had success both setting the edge and as situational pass rushers in the NFL. The two biggest differences here are the Jets wanted a second round pick for Jermaine Johnson. The Bears got JTS for the equivalent of a seventh rounder, trading a sixth for a seventh. Second is the cap hit both these players have. We already know the Bears don't have a ton of cap space, but the Cleveland Browns had written a backloaded void deal contract for JTS, basically 1 year, $4.5 million that they already paid the most of. The cap hit for the Bears is less than $1 million. JTS's cap hit overall is around $730K, under a million. Meanwhile, Jermaine Johnson, his cap hit is $13.4 million. So we would have had to give up a second round pick and clear at least $8 million in cap space. So basically, the Bears paid less, but got a pass rusher that statistically is very similar, if not better, than Jermaine Johnson. And we didn't have to give up much, and he's not costing us much. Will he be as productive as Jermaine Johnson would have been? I can't answer that. But picking up an edge rusher with upside for cheap, I think this was a very solid move by the Bears. They didn't mortgage their future, but the team still got better. This is a guy with 15 sacks over 4 years compared to Jermaine Johnson's 11. Stats are on the screen there, but he has more pressures, more tackles for loss. He was basically better in every category, and he has more experience, but he's cheaper. If this team can get healthier down the stretch, we are going to be very competitive. And we have to remember how young this team is as well. It wasn't worth mortgaging the future with the core of your roster being this young. Too many people are saying the Bears did nothing at the deadline. We traded for a former first-round pick, and on top of that, people are forgetting about C.J. Gardner-Johnson. We signed a 27-year-old Pro Bowl caliber type of defender. Other teams gave up valuable draft picks for corners that aren't even as good as Gardner-Johnson. The Bears got him for free without sacrificing any picks. They also added to the pass rush by trading for JTS, a former first-round pick, and an edge rusher that has over 40 starts the last few years. I already talked about JTS versus Jermaine Johnson, but I wanted to make another point here. Joe was a starter for the Bucs for the majority of the last 3 seasons and has been a big part of the team's pass rush for the last 4 years. The Tampa Bay Bucs made the playoffs every single one of those seasons. If he's good enough to start and be a major part of the Bucs pass rush, why isn't he good enough to at least be a situational pass rusher for this Bears team. If he was good enough to help the Bucks, why can't he help us, basically? We are a team that hasn't made the playoffs since 2020, and we haven't won a single playoff game since 2010. I think our fans can be a little critical sometimes just because they had no idea who this guy was or hadn't heard of him before. That doesn't mean he's terrible. Now, he's not a needle mover. He's not Max Crosby. He's not Quinnen Williams. He's not going to change this franchise's ability to win games. But what he is a valuable player that's going to add depth to our defensive line, and he's going to help this team in an area that we could really use it. And look, our defense has been terrible. 29th in the NFL in points allowed, 26th in yards allowed. But we lead the league right now in takeaways. So this hasn't been a dominating defense by any stretch of the imagination, but they are a defense that you can win with in the NFL. Today's football games are more about offense than defense. Rules have changed, given more opportunities for quarterbacks to be the stars of the field. And that's what a lot of people are missing here. The Bears have a top 10 offense that's borderline top 5 right now. And that's in Ben Johnson's first 8 games as a head coach. We are 6th in points per game, 10th in passing yards, 2nd in rushing yards, and 4th in total yards. Top 5 overall in the NFL in total yards. This team has been one of the best offenses in the league in the first half season with Ben Johnson. And we are younger, and we should get better going forward. But this team has improved in so many ways. Yet all I see or hear on social media are fans complaining that our GM should be fired or that he slept through the trade deadline. If you missed Ben Johnson's press conference, this is a point I have to make, guys. The days of Ryan Poles being the primary decision maker for this team are done. He doesn't make any move without the approval of Ben Johnson now. Ben Johnson pretty much said it himself. Him and Ryan Poles had a ton of conversations during the trade deadline, and they agreed on what path they were going to go down. So it's time to stop blaming the GM. The head coach and the GM make these decisions together. But did people not pay attention around the NFC North? All of these teams that we're competing with, our division rivals, were built through the NFL draft. The Lions, the Vikings, and Packers, none of them have a history of trading away valuable picks. The entire division was quiet at the deadline. The Packers made a small move, but it was pretty much silent. The Packers did trade for Micah Parsons this offseason, but that is historically not something they do, and Micah is a special player. The Packers have more current draft picks on their roster still than any other team in the league. So while yesterday's deadline was mostly quiet for the Bears, they did nothing to hurt this team's future. I know the Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams trades are fun, but most of the time, these kind of moves do not help teams out in the long run. I do think the Cowboys got better. I'm not sure about the Colts, though. We'll find out once the playoffs get here. But both those teams gave up multiple first and second round picks and included young players that were also picked in round 1 or 2 in the last few drafts. I'm glad the Bears didn't mortgage their future for one player. This is a team that's not just trying to win for one season. Remember, once we take the North, the plan is to never give it back. I know. But right now, I'm pleased with the direction of this team, and I'm glad we haven't mortgaged any of our future to get here. The future of the Chicago Bears is still very bright, and this is a team that's competitive right now, just half a game out of the lead of the NFC North. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments. As always, I appreciate everyone who watches. Hit that like button for me. Stay tuned, and until next time, bear down.